Hi, this is Sharon with Marion Day's House, and we are back for another Sunday of YouTube. I missed Thursday this week because we were celebrating Veteran Day in the upstate in Spartanburg with Monique Woods with Don't Forget About Me, a Day program. So we had a blast during that time. I will show some pictures here so you guys can see what all went on in that event. Monique, she is still collecting donations for whenever she's taking the residents out anywhere or doing any arts and crafts, and her cash app is $MLWoods83, so you can get on and cash app her anytime just to give a gift to resident and just support the program and support the underserved community. All right, so we're gonna get into today and what today is about. So Bountiful Harvest is almost coming to an end. So 11:30 Bountiful Harvest will retire and end will be Rejoice. So with Rejoice, we are going to be making some new products with that. I have a eucalyptic salve that is great for hidradenitis boils. So you guys may have heard of people putting Vicks on their boils or on their open wounds even to get some type of relief. Well, Marion Days has a more natural product. Instead of using petroleum jelly mixed with some camphor like with the Vicks use, we have eucalyptic with some shea butter and some other nice oils in here. So this will not only relieve the pressure from your hidradenitis boils, but also with your open wounds. Now, if you don't have hidradenitis suppurativa, you can still use this salve. So I have pyoderma gangrenosum as well, and it does help me with areas on my skin with pyoderma gangrenosum. I have actually an acne bump here that I did the worst thing ever is popped it, so it's just like really icky, and it's just great on here. It doesn't burn. It's not filled with anything that's irritating my skin. I like this salve. So this is a salve that I've just been using for a while now here. I've been using this salve, and so I decided to let it come out with the Rejoice collection, which is the winter collection. It's called Rejoice, and so like I said, we'll be having some new products coming out with Rejoice, as well as we still have our Castile soap, we still have our scalp oil, we still have our scrubs, and we'll have different scrubs with Rejoice as well. So what I really wanted to talk about was Friday. If you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Marion Day's House on Facebook and Instagram, and if you're not following me on there, you should, because you'll be missing out on some day-to-day activities and updates in my life of what I have going on. I'm just looking at my hair and it is a mess. So anyway, yeah, it's a mess. Okay, I get it, it's a mess. But anyway, so on Friday I posted one of my most vulnerable posts that I have posted ever. And so what that was about, so I showed a picture of me smiling, from a year ago, and I was just talking about, how sometimes we hide behind a smile, and when you smile, people just automatically assume you're happy, things are going well, and we naturally put on a face for the outside world, or we will put on a face for the gram or for the book or whatever. I mean, you want to look good in your TikToks or in your tweets or your YouTube videos even. You want to look good. You want to look good to your job, to your church, to your school. You want to look good amongst your friends, amongst your associates, even amongst your enemies. You want to look good. You want people to know that you have it going on and you are happy. Hoorah! Right? So we all do that. We put on these different faces that are not necessarily showing how we feel inside. And that smile that I showed on Friday on my Instagram and Facebook, Marion Day's House, just showed you that although I was smiling and, I mean, took a beautiful picture for social media, I also showed the next pictures, my legs, of open wounds that I had on my legs from my pyoderma gangrenosum. I showed my armpit with my hidradenitis suppurativa, open, deep wounds in my armpit. That those pictures were at a point where I thought my hidradenitis and my pyoderma, that was the best it was going to do. And they were so open, they were still draining. I still needed to do bandage changes and go through different therapies and treatments. I've been through everything with the dermatologist, from steroid injections to Humira injections to taking all kind of oral antibiotics and lowering my immune system, causing me to get sick at work and still having to work through it because, hey, I have 3 boys that I have to take care of. So I still needed to be able to produce as a mother because other people were depending on me. I have 3 little people depending on me to make it, whether my legs are weeping with purulent matter or whether my arms are just raw from my scrub tops. It didn't matter. I still needed to move on and produce for my children. So that's what I did, and I did it with a smile. So, yeah, at some point something had to give because, you guys, if you don't know my story, I am a cancer survivor. I had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I was diagnosed at the tender age of 11 years old. Right there at the start of puberty. I just started middle school, and I remember going to the doctor because I was a little chubby kid and my blood pressure was a little bit elevated, and that was the start of it all. My blood pressure was a little bit elevated, and so I was going to the doctor to just monitor that because that was weird that my blood pressure was elevated as a kid. But in our falls, I mean, there's always something else to help you. So, I mean, I just give God the glory for that, for my blood pressure to be elevated. That's number one. So anyway, I was going back to the doctor with my parents to get checked up on. And my dad, he was just upset that my blood pressure was still elevated. And he was like, no, she's already lost the weight. I've been walking with her and blah, 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 blah. My dad, he's already passed away now for 13 years. But, oh, he was a bullet. And he was like, oh, it's no way. We've walked miles and miles and miles. She's lost weight, blah, blah, blah. Her blood pressure should not be elevated any longer. And the doctor was like, well, basically, you're not doing a good enough job. And so he was upset and he requested for blood work to be done. They refused, and he was just adamant about it. He's like, basically, push came to shove. My insurance is paying for it. You do what I tell you to do. So they did what he told them to do, reluctantly, but they did it. And they sent me on my way back to school. So I went back to school, and that day I was just so tired. Thank goodness my mom was there at the school to pick me up. I didn't have to walk back with my friends. And I told my friends, hey, I got to go. I am tired. And so that's when she said, hey, Michelle. My family, they called me Michelle. She was like, hey, Michelle, so we have to go back to the hospital. There's something wrong in your blood work. And I'm like, okay, I'm 11 years old. I'm like, whatever. I mean, I have no worries because my parents worry for me. I don't have to worry, right? And so I go back to the hospital and they're talking about, oh, yeah, you have like leukemia. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what leukemia is. I mean, I'm 11. I'm like, you know, yeah, you talk to my parents. I mean, I don't care. And then finally my mom was like, no, you have cancer. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I didn't know what what type of reaction they wanted from me, but I was just nonchalant because my parents, that was their job, to worry for me. I was carefree. I didn't have any concerns about what was going on unless it was about my homework or something a friend said. Like, that's the worries that was in my life at the time. So, okay, cancer. So, anyway, so they explained to me more about what was going on in my life and what I was to face. So I went through 2 years of, cancer treatment. I was finally in remission. And so life was great. I went from being in remission into being like a cancer survivor. So I've been living cancer free since 1996 actually. 1998 is when I stopped my cancer treatment, and I have not had any flare-ups. Thank you, Jesus. I haven't had any flare-ups whatsoever after that, or any signs of cancer coming back. However, there's always a however. I remember one of my college professors was always like that, but however, a big however. So apparently pyoderma gangrenosum and hidradenitis suppurativa is some sort of way linked to having blood cancers. But there hasn't been enough research about these diseases, because apparently these diseases are embarrassing. Like, I am embarrassed. I was embarrassed to have this disease. I mean, even though I'm a healthcare provider, I'm a registered nurse, a master's prepared registered nurse, almost finished with my DMP nurse. I know through and through that this disease is not contagious, that this disease is not because you're dirty. This disease does not come because you don't know how to wash correctly, but this is an autoimmune, auto-inflammatory disease that it's just your body saying, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't recognize who is who, so I'm killing everything. That's basically what your body is doing if you have autoimmune diseases. That's what it's doing. Saying, I don't know how to differentiate between the good guy and the bad guy, so everybody got to go. Everybody just got to get out of here. So you just kind of self-destruct. So basically, that's what autoimmune disease is, auto-inflammatory. Your body is constantly in an inflamed state because that's what it knows to do. It's like, whoa, I need to protect myself. So in order for me to protect myself, I need to swell. So that's what your body is doing. It's just trying to protect itself, even though it's really hurting itself. So your doctor tried to provide you all these immunosuppressants to help calm your immune system down, and it causes other problems. So that's where I was. I was through those states like, hey, I don't know what to do. I got my, I feel like I had my first flare when I was going through cancer treatments, and it was right in my groin area. And by that time, oh my gosh, I was 12 years old. And I was like, I didn't tell anybody, but I was having issues, taking a bath, taking a shower because it was hurting and I didn't want nothing to touch it. I mean, I'm 12 years old. So finally, I'm telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, I got this bump in between my legs. And so she was like, oh, okay, it's probably hair bump. Don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. She tells my dad, oh my gosh, my dad, the self-certified doctor of the house. So he's like, oh, okay, well, I know exactly what to do with this. And so he's telling me what to do with this, and it just got worse. And the wound got worse. It got bigger and deeper. And it smelled. And finally, my parents, they were like, no, she barely could walk with this thing. They told my doctors about it, and they wanted to see it. And I was like, no one's going to see, my underparts. Like, I mean, I've never, been to a gynecologist. No one ever looked at my underparts. So I'm like, what is up with that? They're weird. Like, why do they want to look at me? And I didn't want them to do it, but so happened is I had to get a a port placement because my body rejected my old port to get my chemo, and so they actually sedated me. And when they did sedate me, they had a chance to separate my knees and be able to see what was happening. And it was so bad that I had to get a part cut off, like, you know, a part of the groin area so they could debride it and clean it. So that's how long it was going on. And that was my first instance of hidradenitis suppurativa. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why I was there, but so happened I didn't have a flare-up anymore because I was taking some heavy chemo, some new age chemo that they were doing some studies with. And this chemo, I'm telling you, cleared everything. I mean, it cleaned house. I had a rash on my face. I had rashes on my elbow, behind my neck, all of that stuff was gone because the chemo just like gave me new skin. It gave me new hair. And you just think, oh, I got some better skin, some better hair, all this stuff. But so it was gone for some time, and then after a while I'm feeling good. I never thought about it anymore because I never had it anymore ever again. And so after I was pregnant with my first child, I noticed there was a bump on my leg, and I thought it was a spider bump. That's how it was, a spider bump. So I thought, and I went to the doctor and all that stuff. By the time I went to the doctor, the spider bump, it seemed like in a day's time, it just spread through my whole leg. And they thought I had osteomyelitis, like I had cellulitis or something. They were like, no, it's not cellulitis. And surprisingly, as bad as it looked, as bad as it was draining, and I had all these different colors skin on my leg, it wasn't infected. And they're like, wow, it's not infected. It's not, they're trying to figure it out. And finally, one doctor, I was telling him, well, I got these things under my arms too that it keeps on coming back. And he was like, oh, I know what you have. You have hidradenitis suppurativa. He sends me to the surgeon. And the surgeon does all these things to my leg, made it worse. Took the scapula, started cutting off my legs. I used to have to go into the oxygen chamber to get all this oxygen put on, and you have to get naked and all this stuff and just be in this chamber. And yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. And finally, I had the bright idea. I said, you know what? This has something to do with the skin. And I should probably see a skin specialist, like a dermatologist. I told that to my surgeon. And they're like, yeah, you probably should. And I went to the dermatologist where they're like, whoa, the surgeon is the first person who you should run away from as fast as you can. Because these diseases, however, as much as you want to cut it out, the more you cut, the worse it gets. You may get better after a while, but you'll start getting some more infiltration, because as you know, hidradenitis suppurativa, it's not only a surface thing. This thing is more than skin deep. It runs tracks throughout. And your pyoderma gangrenosum, I mean, if you put a scapula to that or start scrubbing it and doing this debridement stuff, it's just going to continue to spread throughout. So I have some deformities on my leg when I was going through the debridement process. But I didn't know, and there's not much research on it, so who can you really blame? No one, because no one really knows. So you just, it's almost like trial and error, right? So it just came to a point where I barely could walk. And you guys, I shared this story before. I barely could walk. There was no treatments that was helping me. I lost weight. I lost like 80 pounds. I was doing the fasting things, and I lost like 80 pounds in a year. And mainly because, I mean, I just couldn't eat. I mean, I was taking so much ibuprofen that I feel like I had it also. Every time I ate, it hurt. So I was like, oh no food for me. You know, you're trying to get some water, and you're like, oh no, that hurts too. Nothing, I don't want nothing in my stomach. So I basically had myself, on this like diet to heal my ulcer. Because like I said, I'm a nurse, and you know, we never go to the doctor. We just feel like we can handle it, right? So anyway, so I had myself on this like weird diet, and I also finally did heal up, but I just had issues walking, and my doctor was finally like, hey, like, you're a nurse, you're still working on the floor, and yeah, so you need to start thinking about some disability, or thinking about another type of nursing job or a new field, because this is not working for you. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to take this a little bit more seriously. Me and my mom was like, well, we got to take this a little bit more seriously. I didn't want nobody to really know about it, but I was like, at this point, I was like just scratching at the walls for answers. I mean, I'm a believer in Christ. I go to church. We went to church. We told our prayer group. We told the pastor. We had lots of praying and everything like that. And we're like, you know, the way we're praying for like, hey, let God help us expand our minds to figure out what exactly it is should be our next step. What else should we be doing? And so we felt that the next step was, hey, you take back control. You take back control, because, you know, as God's children, we believe that we have that power to take back control, and we have that right and authority to take back control. So that's what we did. We took back control through Mary and Day's house and created these products. Really, before Mary and Day's house even existed, we created these products that I've been using. So I was not consistently using products because I was like, you know, you don't know, I just don't need to be taking these antibiotics. Yeah, I need to take this Humira and inject myself in the belly and rotate these sites because I believe it would help me. So I wasn't consistently using these products that we were making. Like, I would make it here and there. My mom would put it on here and there, or I just want to put it on myself. I'm like, well, let me just see what these products would be doing. And so until it just was like, man, this isn't working. I mean, it's just not working. And so when I started consistently using the products, I'm telling you, like, I started seeing results. Never in a million years I thought my wound under my arm was going to heal. I thought I was just going to always have a draining wound. If you read your Bible, you know the lady with the issue of blood for the 12 long years. I mean, they even made a song about it. I was like, listen, hey, I don't have to change my bandages every day. Like, I think that's good enough. But using Mary Day's house products, that stuff, I haven't even walked down the Band-Aid out. I look past it. I don't need it. Like, I'm so happy. I thought I would have to be buying stock and all the bandages brand there is, but no. We could start having stock for Mary and Day's house products. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the truth. I'm so happy about it. I mean, I'm so happy about it that I have to tell other people about it. I never thought I would be to that point where I'm showing before and after pictures of my wounds. Like, I mean, these are the most vulnerable parts of me, and I'm showing it to everybody because I feel that, you know, people like do need help. There's people like me who's suffering in silence and suffering because they're embarrassed and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say, no, you don't need to be embarrassed. You feel like how you want to feel in the time you need to feel, because your feels are valid. If you're embarrassed, you're embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I didn't feel like talking to nobody about this. I mean, but the more and more I use a product that I feel confident in and feel that is the calling for me and my mom to do, like, this is our talent. Like, we know what to mix together. So that's what's the difference between our natural skincare products and others, because I actually suffer from this stuff. So when I mix a product together, that's not, because that's something I just thought of for the day, or, oh, it smells good, or, oh yeah, I just like, you know, the smell of tea tree and eucalyptus or something. No, these things are mixed with a purpose. There's a rhyme and a reason why we do certain things to each product. Now we have our trade secrets or whatever of what is best for it or what heals faster, but most of all, I just like it a lot because I'm testing it on me first. I truly have this issue. Like when I have a pimple or something, like this pimple that comes up every month when my period's about to come on. No, I show myself, I show you like, hey, I'm real, like I still have breakouts or whatever. I'm not going to say, oh, this is going to stop your flares, this is going to stop you from flaring. No, I'm not going to say that because that's not the truth. You may still very well have your flares and still use Mary Day's house product. You may still very well have acne breakouts or something, and you use the Mary Day's house product, just like how you use other products that's on the line in the stores. You may still have it, but you have something that can heal you and like actually heal you and at least give you closure of those wounds. So you're not buying all those bandages. You're not trying to strategically place bandages, or you're not trying to, you know, buy certain clothes or avoid certain clothes because you're in a flare, because you have a draining wound or something like that. You have something that, hey, okay, well, I know this is gonna take about 2 weeks time to actually start working and give me at least a little scab to work with. You know, that's what I'm like, oh, just give me a little scab, and then I could move on. But yeah, guys, I'm just so proud and so pleased and honored that I could be of service of some sort. So I know this video is a bit longer than my other videos, but I just needed to share that. So if you aren't following me on Facebook or Instagram, I suggest that you do so now. So just log off this, go on Facebook and Instagram. I am there under Mary Day's House. It's spelled just like here on this YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I suggest that you go ahead, subscribe, click the bell, click the like button, and leave a comment too and tell me how I'm doing. Alright guys, remember, let your cup overflow with blessings and your skin be blemish free. Bye for now.